Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Alien vs Predator Galaxy YouTube channel. This is Aaron Percival, aka Corporal Hicks,
And this is Adam Zeller, aka Ridgetop.
and we're back for a motion tracker video talking about some of the latest news from the Alien and Predator fandom. So, this one's one we don't get to talk about very often, isn't it? For a upcoming project that is fairly quiet at the minute. So with this one, we have finally got some character details for Noah Hawley and FX's upcoming Alien series. Now, at first glance, this is a website that I've never heard of and would generally not put much stock in, but because it matched up with what we knew of the show, we decided to run with this one, and we've now just, I say now, the other day we posted a little bit of correction on it as well. But let's add the article to the stream. I'll skip the top bit for now. So yeah, what we know of the show is that it's pretty much probably set to start filming around spring of 2022, and it appears that the production's starting to gear up a bit more, because these character details which the Illuminati uncovered, I think, come from a casting call.
Yeah, that seems to be the most likely thing it could have come from at this point.
So I think that means we are probably starting to kick a bit more into gear, especially if they are now starting to look at casting. But yeah, so like I said, never heard of the website, would normally ignore this, but because the general details match up with what we know, we posted it.
Yeah.
So,
but when we first saw the website, we had not heard of Illuminati before, so I don't know how fair this is, but at first glance, it looks like a kind of site you would kind of group with "We Got This Covered" or "Giant Freaking Robot" or something like that. So normally we would not use this sort of thing as a source, but we saw the details of what they had reported, and we were like, well, they didn't get that from nowhere. So
yeah, this isn't made up bullshit. This isn't small screen claiming that Alien Isolation 2 is due out, or we got this covered, claiming that Sigourney's back for another film or anything like that. So the first bits of details we've got is a character called Hermit. So FX is looking to cast a man in his early 30s, open ethnicity. Hermit is a medic with the army. The prototype they are looking at is Domhnall Gleeson, who I think probably best known for, well, most recently best known for
Star
Hux
Wars,
in, is it Hux in Star Wars?
General Hux.
Yeah.
I first was familiar with him from Ex Machina.
Because he played opposite. I forget his name now. Who's also in Star Wars?
Oscar
plays
Isaacs.
Poe. Yeah.
Oscar Isaacs. Yeah, but I recently rewatched Dredd with Carl Urban, and he was in that one too.
Okay.
So it was interesting.
I know him from a little bit of a time travel romance film as well, where I think he was alongside Bill Nye. So he's got a bit of range, I think, is Gleeson. But that I think is more intended to give you a idea of the kind of person they're looking at, not necessarily going to be Gleeson, of course.
But it could be.
Could
if
be.
they're looking for a typecast and he's willing to do it, who knows?
So take us through the next one, Adam.
So FX is also looking to cast a woman of any age and any ethnicity to play Wendy. Wendy is Hermit's, they said, brother, but we later put in a correction, but stuck in another person's body. Until now, Hermit believed his sister was killed in an experiment, but comes to realize that she is in fact in this soldier's body. They are looking for someone who is well-muscled and able to do action. FX is also looking for someone with comedy chops. Denai Guerrera is the prototype for this role. So there's actually 3 roles listed here, I believe. A Hermit, Wendy, and the person with comedy chops.
I took that to mean that they wanted somebody for Wendy with comedy chops.
Maybe? I don't know. It seems like it's talking about 3 to me.
I don't think so.
They are also looking for... Well, I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. I just wouldn't expect that character to be a comedic role.
You see, now you've got to remember the comments that this always makes me. I always come back to this comment when somebody known for comedy is cast in one of these films, and it's James Cameron talking about Paul Reiser, saying how great the comedian is on a drama role and a non-comedy role because they
Yeah, but they're
understand
not
timing very well.
cast for comedy chops with that. They're just cast.
I suppose, but from what I remember, it was a deliberate choice.
I think it's a brief, but that's just my interpretation. It could be wrong. I think it's a brief mention of someone else they're looking for. But
Not my take on it, but whatever. I'm not familiar with the prototype they're looking for. I don't think I've seen her in anything.
Wasn't she in Black Panther?
I don't know. I don't recognize the name at all.
Yeah, she was. Okay.
But not one that immediately jumps out at you?
Nope.
No. Okay. So, Adam mentioned the correction here. This isn't a brother being transferred in, a male being transferred into a female body. This is sister. This is female into female. But what was the extra details that we could provide on this little?
Well, real quick, I can see why some people also would question this reporting because they do say that James Cameron was on as a producer, which
we know he's not.
He's not. Yeah, he's not.
Yeah.
But the correction that we can provide is essentially just confirming that the names and general details of these characters are correct. However, Wendy is Hermit's sister, and the body she is in is a synthetic body.
So synthetic conscious transfer, which I've seen people comment on, actually, because they think it's a lot of people seem to think it's a little left field for Alien.
But it has appeared before.
But it has appeared as far back as nearly 20 years now. Not quite 20 years, but we're getting there. So most recently, the obvious things to bring up are Alien: The Cold Forge.
Yeah. There's a bit of a distinction there with it's kind of like more remote control, but she's still vividly experiencing what the android's body is through her own consciousness in that story. So it's not too far of a stretch, really, based on the precedent, I think.
Well, I think the stuff from AVP2 is more, and AVP 2010 is more relevant than the Cold Forge's take on it.
Yeah.
Because it's like you say, in the Cold Forge, it's more about remote control. Blue is piloting a synthetic body. That's more what that is. But when it comes to 2010 and AVP2, I think AVP2 more relevantly, because that is straight up, that is a consciousness being transferred from a very damaged Dr. Eisenberg into a synthetic body. That's what happens. So we're talking AVP2, we're talking 2002, I think, 2003.
AVP2?
Yeah. I think it was early 2000s. I can't remember. Yeah. Because it was the 20th anniversary. Yeah, so 2001. So it has been around in the franchise for 20 years. And of course, then you're very fond of AVP 2010 and that take on Wayland and stuff.
Yeah, it's very brief. It's just part of an audio log that Lance Henriksen did for Carl Bishop Wayland, where he talks about experimental technology saving the memories of Charles Bishop Wayland from the first AVP film. So yeah, he has his memories in that game, and but I think the closest is actually Dr. Eisenberg,
definitely,
because that was a straight up consciousness transfer into a synthetic body. So, and at the end of that game, the character pretty much went insane. So it was not that that'll happen here, but it was definitely I think the first time we had ever seen that idea in something alien related was AVP2.
Yeah, I can't remember if it's been in any of the other comics at all. It doesn't strike a bell with me with those ones. But what do you think of the concept?
I think it's an interesting concept. I think it really depends on how it's done. Like regardless of what we picked out in terms of past examples in the expanded universe, generally for most people it will be a new concept for Alien, I think. But I mean, you do have some elements of this, I guess, in the prequels, like the dream helmet. I mean, if someone's interacting with someone in a dream state, you would think technology might exist that could allow for a consciousness transfer in that sort of world. So it's an intriguing idea for sure.
I'm curious because I do think it is, even though it has been in the past, it is a little bit not quite what you'd associate with Alien. So I do. It's one of these things, isn't it? I mean, I don't know how it's going to be done completely yet, so it's too early to pass judgment. But I do think it's interesting, and I know you've disagreed with me off the air, but I think this is an element that's going to be right up Ridley's street in terms of consciousness into synthetic bodies. So
we'll see. I mean, this show's Noah's baby, and Ridley has already kind of
thrown some shade,
giving it a backhand a little bit.
I still think that was tongue in cheek. I think that was lost in translation. I can totally see him sat there with a little grin.
But yeah,
while he says
Alien,
that.
Regardless if it's been at the forefront, like we saw it with the prequels, there's always been elements of things to do with the synthetics that go beyond just they're here. You know, there's been questions that have been asked of that, and if this is an intriguing new question and it's presented in a new way in terms of like, is this a way for immortality, right? Digital immortality. There was a movie I saw before called Transcendence with Johnny Depp that dealt with this. I thought the movie was kind of clumsily executed, but it still had some really intriguing bits.
That was actually written by one of the writers of Covenant, if I remember rightly. Wasn't that
really?
Jack Paglin, I think it was?
Interesting.
But I think going forwards, hopefully this does mean that we are going to start to see more news soon. Obviously, it was a scoop, a leak. This wasn't an official announcement, but if they are gearing up and we are starting to see casting, hopefully we'll start to see some casting announcements come from like Deadline or something like that. So hopefully things are going to stop being quiet.
I think if we're lucky and things don't get too out of control in the world next year, that they will probably film it next year, and we'll probably see it in 2023. That would be my estimation. So looking forward to it. The first Alien series. It's getting exciting. I was kind of joking with the picture you used for the article because I was like, things are heating up, just like it looks like in that picture. So, and they are.
He is about to get a load of lead poured on him on the cover image for this one.
Yeah,
but wasn't intentional. But no, I'm looking forward to hearing more. I just hope it's not going to be too outlandish. We'll see.
Yeah, we got enough of that in the prequels. So it's like, if you want to explore intriguing new ideas, do it, but still do it in a way where
it feels alien.
It feels alien, exactly. I think that's the big important thing.
But then again, you can't always be too restricted down. So same as anything, isn't it? It's still got to be good. So maybe it isn't quite what we typically associate with Alien, but if it's executed well and there's enough of a tie to something that we've had in the past, and I think this consciousness into a synthetic angle feels pretty relevant based on Ridley's obsession with synthetics in the prequels, and of course they've been a constant throughout the series. Bad guy, good guy, whatever the Call wants to be defined as. So, at least the topic of synthetics is a fairly constant within Alien. But yeah, we'll just have to see how this whole digital immortality kind of thing.
Kind of reminds me of Ghost in the Shell a little bit too. Just transferring Motoko's consciousness into just a fully robotic body. That sort of element, and I'm a big fan of that original film. So yeah. Interesting concept to introduce into Alien, or reintroduce if you count the AVP examples. But
Eisenberg, yeah. Okay. All right, anything else to say on this? Or anything you want to say,
General? That's all we can say at the moment. But
yeah.
But keep your eyes peeled.
Indeed. Right, well, thank you everybody for watching. Let us know your thoughts on this potential topic down below, of course. And if you are visiting the channel for the first time, please do head back to the main page, check out some of our other content, video versions of our podcasts. If you don't want to watch videos, there are audio versions on the website. And of course, some of our editorial pieces, some of our live streams, and just general Let's Plays. So head on over, check those out. Do all that nonsense YouTube stuff that we have to ask for, smash that like button and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications, all that nonsense. But yeah, seriously, because that stuff does help. Algorithms and everything.
YouTube is a hard place to grow these days for a smaller channel like ours, but
indeed.
But thanks to our subscribers for helping us get there.
Indeed. And of course, the other areas of our community down below on the screen, avpgalaxy.net being the hub of the activity on the main website, and then the various social arms of the website and the various outlets. So go check those out, make sure you're following us, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and check back in with us for more content. This has been Corporal Hicks.
And Ridgetop.
Thank you for watching.